With the Bills beating the Dolphins and the Dolphins officially dropping to 0-3, the question on everyone's mind is, should the head coach Mike McDaniel get fired? And it's a pretty complicated question because on one hand, you're 0-3. Season's over, you're cooked, you're not doing anything. Your best player in Tyreek Hill has this looming domestic violence case on top of him requesting a trade, whatever that happened to that, who knows. But on the other hand, you looked good offensively the last 2 weeks. Obviously, the turnovers costing them last week and this week. But when a team like the Bills, you held on for the vast majority of the game. That's not much many teams can say, right? You held your own, right? Defensively, you did the best you could. You did solid enough, right? Holding the Bills to only the 28, which, yes, 28 points, but considering they dropped 40 against the Ravens and then 30 plus again against the Jets, considering all your injuries on the defensive end, gotta give them credit, right? They're still the Bills. They're still gonna score a lot of points, but y'all held in there for the majority of the game, right? Besides that costly Tua interception, who knows? The game could have been tied. Who knows? Things could have swung for the Dolphins. Who would have known? We won't know. So that is something to hang your hat on a little bit. Give yourself some credit. I never considered the Dolphins to be like Super Bowl contenders or anything, but starting 0-3 was not a thought that ever appeared in my mind. I thought they're going to be like a 8-9, 9-8 team around there, but 0-3, especially considering the players only meeting after week 1 after getting demolished by the Colts, which are the surprise team of the year, and then you lose again to the Patriots in a game you could have won, and then you lose again to the Bills in the game you could have won. You can see how the locker room kinda isn't in the greatest spot right now. So on one hand, if you do fire Mike McDaniel, you're hoping the new head coach, whoever that may be, will provide the team with a new spark that they need. Or maybe the big decision that the Dolphins need to make is just to bench Tua and give him the Bryce Young treatment. Let him sit, let him relax, let him get his mind right, understand what he's doing wrong, look at it from an outside perspective. Maybe seeing what Zach Wilson got, maybe seeing what Quinn Ewers got, maybe they might be the better fit for right now, maybe not. But either way, something needs to change. You're 0-3. Yes, you are playing the Jets without Justin Fields, so who knows what that Jets offense is going to look like with Tyrod Taylor back there. And then you play the Panthers, which they're the Panthers, and then the Chargers, who are looking to be real good this year, especially offensively, and then you play the Browns. So the next couple games are winnable. Can have on one hand, you can't keep him for the next couple games, see how he does. If he loses next week, if he's still here, he's fired. It's over. You can't even beat a Jets team without their starting quarterback. You're cooked. But on the other hand, right, you're 0-3, players only meeting 2 winnable games down the drain. Isn't the greatest optics, right? And it's not like the problems they have aren't fixable. Tua is throwing very costly interceptions a lot this year. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's leading the league in interceptions. If he's not number 1, he's certainly towards the top. So yeah, a lot of the blame does fall on Tua. However, the last 2 games have been winnable. Right, the Patriots game, they could have won that. They were very, very close to winning that. They were right there on the edge, of winning, and then pick happened, and then the Patriots defense just did their thing, and then the Bills are the Bills, so look like the best team in football. You hung with them for the vast majority of the game. Could, especially with these next 3 out of 4 games being very winnable, very easily by week 7, you're about like 3-4, which isn't the greatest spot to be in the world, but is far from the worst possible position. So do I think Mike McDaniel should get fired? I say give it 1 more week. If they lose against the Jets, he gets fired. However, if they win and they're 1-3, I think you can hang on to him for at least the rest of the regular season, at least, and then off season, let him go. Babe, those are my thoughts on Thursday Night Football and the whole Mike McDaniel situation. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments. When you're down there, drink water. Bye.